Hi, this is Sheila with Conscious Conversation Central, and today is Friday, May the 3rd, 2019. And I'm with my gal pal posse, BZ Rieger and Lisa Flamino Rush. So, a Friday night, all of us together here. That's pretty cool. And BZ was, it was BZ's turn to pick, but she gave us three to choose from. And Lisa and I both decided this one lit up for us. So this one is releasing the bonds of gravity to the lower worlds. And gravity meaning a whole bunch of different things. We were kind of tossing that around. I liked because it also made me think, because you said something, BZ, about how it's not your grandfather's gravity that we're talking about. And I jokingly, well, not really jokingly, I mean, Nassim Haramein has done a lot in regards to, well, really, what is gravity?
Right.
I mean, it's not like it's actually ever been, I don't know, proven or satisfactorily, scientifically, I guess.
Well, yeah,
Shown.
and another simple way to say that now is right now that science is proving that what has been stated before is not.
For some reason, all of a sudden again, I couldn't even hear what you just said.
Can you hear me now?
Barely.
How about now?
A little better, but not much.
How about now?
That's much better. So please repeat what you just said.
I said, well, a simple way to say what you're saying too is that as science is expanding, at least the science that can be the real science that isn't based on grants and hush money and threat of being offed, which is how 98% of all science is proving that the construct of gravity is not at all what it was purported and, taken into account as being.
What they say it is, yeah.
What they originally said it was, a long time ago.
Yeah. But now because we're using gravity in quotation marks. Well, I know why this whole entire subject lit up for me, and that is because, well, you also said this kind of goes towards the death and rebirth in our shoes, which is what we're kind of doing here.
It absolutely goes with that, yeah.
And so there's been a lot of, because there's the energetics right now. There's a lot of folks that I mean, even myself, I vacillate from being, oh, okay, I can float along and everything's great, too. Oh my God, I'm dying over here. Kind of. So that death and rebirth right in your shoes is a very, very real thing.
Right.
Although we've kind of developed the idea that we're not sick, we're ascending. And so, but it just still doesn't matter. The energy can be a little bit crazy making.
Yeah. Well, you aren't sick, you are ascending. And when people are going into, whether they have no idea and aren't paying attention, and so they go to get fixed from somebody external to themselves, which is, the way we've been trained. But the medications that really don't heal anything but block symptoms or redirect your body to kind of go along okay over here and then go haywire someplace else, because then you can sell more medicines. I mean, that's, if anybody thinks that the pharmaceutical industry is put out to actually help people, then a bit of research would be helpful for them, because that's not at all the case. It's not.
Agreed.
That's not what it is. But this isn't that conversation. But reason I brought that up is because all of those kinds of medications and pills and all that kind of stuff are they're born of, and this holds for anything, but we're just happen to, you mentioned this, so we'll start with that. But anything born of the false construct that has an occult intent behind it, and occult just means hidden. Okay, so that has an occult intent behind it. Just what I said about the whole pharmaceutical, which is not to heal people. It's a moneymaker. It's a service, purely service to self industry, and all of the things that you get for that, because it helps with the whole slavery system. It helps with all sorts. I mean, it's kind of got its tentacles as far as infrastructure and product procurement and all those kinds of things. We're being the product, not the pharmaceuticals, but the human is the product. All the way through. So anything that is born of that will not work anymore in these things. And so what I was starting to say is that when you go to people are feeling, they think they're sick because their ascension symptoms are, I don't like that word, but the ascension, the responses that their body is given to you based on the ascension frequencies and what is shifting and changing and having to peel off and reorganize and completely be reborn, looks to a doctor and other beings, as specific symptoms. Well, it's never really been those symptoms in the first place, but they were able to sell that to us, and they were able to sell us the pills and all that kind of stuff. But what I'm saying now is it's that those supposed fixes are not fixing it anymore, because the whole body is overriding all of those blocks and masks and tamping downs, because it has got to do what it's got to do, or it's got to leave the planet, because it's the only way it can survive. The body itself can survive and go through this transformation, is to either go through the transformation or leave the planet and then reformulate itself into a physical structure that is already designed to house and support a soul in those higher energies. So what I'm saying is that the medicine, very laughingly in quotes, is designed to mask and inhibit and block what is occurring, and so it's not working. Now, so someone just said, well, does that mean that a lot of people are then dying? Yes. And nothing is being done to them. It's a choice, and strictly a conversation and choice between them and Source. And this is the path that they have chosen to take.
Yes, and I know that may be difficult for a lot of us to hear, but I agree. I agree. And hey, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I think I've chosen to stay, but hey, but I'm okay, even if I really know that I am eternal. So if on some level I chose not to stay, I'm all right with that.
Well, one of the ways that people can, whether they have a cognitive thought of I chose or don't choose, right? It's the way that they're carrying their energy and the way that they're relating to different things. It doesn't mean that they're talking about ascension verbiage and all that. Doesn't, right. You don't have to do any of that, but it's just the way that they're holding themselves, and they're, we had we had a big spike May 1st, and we're rolling into more, but it was a week and a half ago we had quite a big spike where the huge CMEs, I think it was lasted 30 hours or something, coming in, and all sorts of things like that. It's completely unadulterated Source energy frequency larger than it's ever come. And you can look at any scientific site and they'll show you that we've never had these kinds of things and so on and so forth. But there were, if you were to, and actually interesting, they don't release this information. You used to be able to find out, deaths at ERs and this and the other. They don't release this information anymore because they don't want this kind of stuff plotted so that people can understand how the energies are affecting people as far as leaving. But anyways, there was a mass exodus in that particular.
Well, I know even those, for me, there certainly has been anecdotal evidence in that there are groups that, have that just share, like we share with each other. I know, 4 or 5 different people have passed in the last, and this one will say, so there has been anecdotally, just, it feels like.
Yeah. And friends who work in the ER and stuff like that are saying, that the spiking numbers of certain kinds of things all of a sudden where people are coding out a heart attack or this, that, and the other thing. And again, it's not it's not your father's heart attack, so to say. You use that, kind of euphemism, because the heart is wanting to expand and open. And so now how, just while we're on this for a minute, this because kind of the road I wanted to go down, but we're on this for a minute. When we talk about the moving trucks and that comes in, and if you're not aware of that, especially the first time it happens, you may think, oh my God, I'm having a heart attack. Oh my God, I got to go do X, Y, and Z. And of course, when you have all that, you're resisting and fighting against it and freaking out and raising your blood pressure and all these kinds of things. And there, so you got this whole snowball of moving trucks. And because any kind of a body awareness, because of any kind of soul awareness, any kind of tuning into oneself or knowing that those thoughts, these thoughts that you're having and kind of intuitions you're having, even if you don't call it that, is all been conversing with you and waking up with you and right there having conversations. And those beings who keep pushing it away for whatever reason, from the 3D, literally with their hands and everything else pushing it away. Yeah, they don't have the reassurance because they haven't allowed that in from external sources to them and from internal sources within them. Now, those who are who are aware of it and starting to notice it. Now, actually, I have a lot of people around me where I work and stuff, and they don't know much about it per se, but they'll mention stuff, and I'll say, yeah, and I just do a very broad, fairly easy thing. Yes, that the planet is going through a lot of changes, and every being on the planet are going through a lot of changes, and you will have things that you're calling symptoms and sickness and diseases and stuff, and that's not at all what's going on. If you feel that you need to go to the doctor, but listen to your body, because your body will tell you it's okay. And this is a fairly wide-ranging group, and I haven't told them much beyond that, because if they ask, yes, but other than that, I don't. It's non-interference, so I don't. But I can do that, and just that has given them a level, because they know me, they have comfort, they have confidence. Has given them a level, because they may still go to the doctor, but the doctor can't find anything wrong. And they still may feel like crap, but when they come back and remember the conversation that we had, they can relax, and those symptoms dissipate. And as they relax, then they can rest a little, and then they go away. Yeah. And so I occasionally mention, someone will say, get something, and one of the people who runs the show working will say, is that? And I'll go, yeah. And they'll go, okay. I said, and I said, and you may want to be on the lookout for this or that. And, you know, do whatever you feel drawn to do, but make listening to your body, you know, and get out of your head one of those things. And they don't understand it. They don't get it, but they do come back and they say, you were right. Like, how did that, you know? I said, well, actually, the real way to say it is you were right, because your body was telling you it's okay. You know.
Lisa, you were going to say something.
Well, I was just going to say, yeah, you'll notice, if you notice, you feel better. Like, I'm not feeling progressively worse. Yeah, I get moving trucks, but actually I'm feeling better. So and my body is telling me that. It's telling me in the way that it performs.
Right.
And so by tuning in and noticing your body, I was just agreeing with what she was saying.
No, but I like what you're saying there, because if it truly were an issue, like with me,
you would keep getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
It wouldn't go away and you feel better for several days.
That's right. Well, I love the things where, just while we're on this, you know, where I'll have a shooting pain over here, and occasionally, maybe it's because I'm tired or whatever, I go, okay, well, maybe I should pay attention to that. And it'll spike, do whatever it's doing, and it'll, you know, like crescendo, and I'll go, maybe. And then I'll come back to my senses and, you know, do the me thing and all that, and it's totally gone, better than it was, all perfect, right? And then over on the opposite side of the body, that it'll do, you know, I'm thinking, yeah, no, you don't, you know, if you're having a, you know, your leg is falling off over here, it doesn't all of a sudden be perfect, and then the opposite side, you know, so.
Exactly.
I know it was a hip thing. I was having a hip thing. I thought, oh, maybe I really did hurt my hip when I fell, or this, that, and the other thing. And then it was very, very painful. And then it completely stopped, and I walked perfectly normal. Nothing, you know, happened. And then maybe a few hours later, the other side of my body in the lower thigh region above the knee area was having the same kinds of pain, totally different body part, but you know, I said, no, it's just, this is what it is. Now, that doesn't take away the fact that sometimes it really, 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 really hurts and is annoying. But, you know.
Yeah, no, exactly. It just, but you know, keeping an eye, like you were saying, on the scientific meters that measure the Earth's Schumann resonance and that sort of thing, and the solar activity. I mean, you know, when one is sitting quietly in the backyard, just admiring the view and interacting with the animals, and all of a sudden, boom, 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 and can't breathe, and there's no reason for anxiety. You're not walking around. You're not running a marathon. And yet, and yet, yeah. So just breathing, and it passes.
Yes.
And then I feel as though, hey, I could go and, you know,
run a marathon.
Well, the breathing through it is one of the absolute best tools, and also just building the muscles so that you have the presence of mind and you have the tenacity, because that's sometimes what it'll take when you're going, okay, this is great. Yeah, I can't remember what she said. Okay, is to put yourself in a bubble of love. Just whatever that looks like, whatever that feels like, however you envision that. And, you know, you could take a physical sweater, cape, whatever, and swirl it around you as if this is your bubble of love, because maybe it's soft and you feel it and that's comforting, whatever it is. But that and breathing through it will really help you to move through whatever area that's going. But this is part of the releasing the bonds of gravity to the lower world. So not just ascension things that come up, but all sorts of things. So, and when you think of a situation as very grave, and you know, you're feeling the gravity, the weight, right, the consternation, the freaking me out, the oh my godness, you know, not in a good way kind of a thing, right? So that's gravity. That's, you know, the gravity of the situation. And by releasing that, whether it's what you may call an ascension symptom, or whether it's a money stress all of a sudden, or whether it's a crumbling system, because all the systems are crumbling, and now so it may be affecting different ways that you're walking through the world, in a job or relationship, whatever it is. Any of those things that have gravity to them, there's a bond. There's a bonding like Bondo glue, and you can't unstick yourself. There's, you know, the bondage of it. And if you hold that in a different way, we tend to hold things that are, we just might describe as a grave situation, or there's a lot of gravity here, the same way we do with gravity. Well, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm just stuck with gravity. You know, it's the way it is. And ask anybody, you know, and so ask anybody about money troubles, ask anybody about health, ask anybody, and because we're so powerful and most people don't realize it, that we're just adding more, you know, Gorilla Glue and Super Glue and Bondo glue to all of those, that gravity, and chaining us a little longer, because it won't last. Even Gorilla Glue won't work on this. Chaining us a little longer to those paths of gravity, of the things that are grave, that are situations, that are emotions, that are conversations, that are kind of spaces and energetic envelopes that we're creating, will bond us to the old lower world a bit longer. But we have the power, you know, to put a drop of anti super glue, you know, anti Gorilla Glue on all of these different things, and we can melt and dematerialize those bonds. But only we can do it.
Wow, I had something right here that I felt to say in regards to what you were just saying, and it just left. So hopefully it'll come back. Yeah. Because Lisa, I felt you had something.
Well, I was thinking of that. We were kind of talking about that this morning, where, you know, well, you know me, I'm still wrestling with the money. And as I was saying, I'm trying to figure out how to make money. And I also don't like money and don't think it's necessary or required. And so I'm kind of conflicted. And I was feeling this morning a little like, so I need money. And I'm trying to figure out how I want to interact with it at this point in time, because I brought that up this morning. I really don't want to anchor money here any longer than is absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
So for me, I've been trying to unbind and unwind it so that it doesn't have that gravity you speak of. Because I'm feeling that more than I am, you know, it's leaving kind of bit. So do you have any advice perhaps on how one might
Well, I don't have any advice because you don't ever give advice, but I can
Okay,
give you some things to
yeah.
play with.
Thank you.
Um,
I'll take it.
so I don't know if the timing's right on the clock, but if you, first thing I would do is go back, write down, make a note, and go back and around the 25, 26-minute mark and listen, go back. What I want you to do is go to the description that you gave, because
Okay.
you actually gave a step-by-step recipe.
Oh, thank you.
You gave keywords that were highlighting, like with bullet points, of what to pay attention to. So you, like, I need underline, try to, make, so and so there were like 4 or 5 sentences that you had, and
Yeah.
each one was in direct opposition and conflict with the one before it.
Okay. Yes. Oh, I feel that.
And another thing that it's really helpful, so years ago, I used to say, I would love to flow with money where it, how, because what got on me is every time, it seemed every week or every month or whatever, there were something always, oh, that's coming due again, right? That's coming due again. And no matter whatever seemed to happen, that's coming due again. That's coming. And so I said, I tried the whole, gravity and the beating myself up and that wasn't working. So I said, well, okay, hey, note to self, try something different, because that's you have absolutely, you put this 60 some odd hours and you've tried everything, and the trying's not doing so good. So
No.
you could keep doing it and keep being unhappy and grave about it and all that kind of stuff, or note to self, you could play with something different.
Yes.
So anyways, one of these times when it came around again, it was very obvious that, oh, that's due again. And I said, I love how the consistency, this comes around and it's right there, and it's, money that's flowing out. And so all the things that you got to requisite to come to have the money in to go flow out. I said, but I love this because I love the consistency of it, and I love the ease, and I don't even have to think about it. And it's right there, right? And this one's right here, and this one's right here. And it's like this never-ending supply of these things that are right here, except it's saying, we'd like, some money for this and some money for this and some money for this.
Yeah.
But I played with the fascination and the joy of how this kept coming up seamlessly, effortlessly, over and over. It was right there. No matter what I was doing, it was right there. And I said, that's it. That's what I want. I want it so that the money that I'm exchanging and that I'm playing with, and that I'm giving my value in exchange for different things, and we're just using money, as that exchange piece. I want that part, so the in-breath of it, to just keep showing up. No matter what's going on, no matter, I don't have to think about it, I don't have whatever, it just keeps showing up. And oh, look at that, there's money in there. And so I really did play with that. And the first thing it did was it eased the gravity on the knocking on my door, this is due, this is due, this is due. So that was better. And I said, that's better, but I want the whole enchilada. I want the playing of this flowing in. So it took me maybe, and this was a while ago, when the energies was like fighting up, you're trying to climb the Alps, and So it would take less. I've noticed that it takes less time to do any of those things now. But what I did was I switched it around. So I still have things, that there's outflow, but I have, because it's a different way that I hold it. It's a different way that I flow it. It's a different way that I've created it. And so to me, it's, there is no, there's no belief around abundance. There's no belief around you create your reality. There's no belief. I have no beliefs about that. I have an absolute direct experience of knowing that that's the case. And this is one example of that is. And so now, I could use the same hand motion. This is the debt one. The money just keeps flowing in. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to work hard at it. From a mental thinking, yes, I may do some physical hard, where I'm moving muscles and that kind of stuff.
Sure.
But, and I think it hit me maybe 4 or 5 years ago when it was, really got to the seamless part. I thought, oh my God, look at that. It's doing, so the coming in was doing exactly what was driving me nuts about the bills. And no matter what I did, no matter how many hours or whatever it is that I worked, right, this kept coming due and this kept coming due, and it was always there, right? And it was an unending supply, right?
Yeah.
And what I had set out to play with and create was not to push that away. No, I didn't even worry. I didn't even pay any attention to any of that. I just loved the beauty of this thing that I had created, that it was seamless. It was always happening, no matter how much thought or no thought I gave it. And so I focused on that I wanted to do that. I didn't say I want to get rid of that. I didn't push against, remember, because pushing against, right? I didn't do any of that.
Sure.
But I admired and really got jazzed by noticing this stuff kept happening. And so I said, great, that's what I want. I'm going to create that this stuff keeps happening. So all the things I just said about this, I did it over here. So this was the plus column, if you're going to use, that way, right?
Yeah.
And I remember, I don't remember what I was doing, but it was about 4 or 5 years ago. And it just struck me. I thought, oh my God, look at that. It just keeps showing up no matter what I do, or how much or how little I do, or how much or how little attention I pay to it. It's just right here. And instead of saying you owe me X, Y, and Z, it says, hey, that's your balance. Hey, that's your balance. Hey, that's your balance. And when I had that realization, the reason I keep calling attention is because that fully locked it in to me. And so it's not like I don't spend money on a lot of stuff, but it's not like I don't not spend money, right? So, but the bills, the things that were, kind of always, whether there's, the all of a sudden bill, the car, that always seemed like clockwork, right? They don't come around as much anymore, but this keeps coming.
Okay.
And one of the things that I really figured out is that the difference was me.
Right.
It wasn't the hours that I clocked or the stuff that I spent or the things I signed up for, say everything I just said on either side, right? It had nothing to do, very little, if anything, to do with that. And that was all just an external mirror of what I was doing. It had to do with me. So one of the ways to do that is to clean up your energy around it, which is cleaning up your languaging around it and your feeling around it. And one of the things that you said that was kind of in those flip things, let's see if I can remember. So something like, I need money, but I don't like money.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, good luck with that.
I know. It's quite the setup, I gotta tell you.
And You know,
Very
I
painful.
want money. I want money. But I don't really like having money anywhere near, you know. Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to.
So since you're a creator, you know, you're like doing these things, and so one thing that comes that might be good to play with is there are so money is right this moment an exchange that this dying structure works with.
Yes.
And it's something that people understand. Okay.
Yeah.
But people also understand that they want to do things, have things, experience things that make them so that they feel a return. They feel a value to it, whether it's something hurts and there's blood and they stick a Band-Aid on it, or whether it's learning something, or you know what I mean? So what really, the simplest way to say it is your words are pushing against,
Yes.
almost on principle, throwing the baby and the bathwater and the whole, you know,
Yes.
bathtub, bathroom, that wing of the house out, just throw it out on principle. Right?
Yes.
And then in the meantime, you're wrestling with the constriction that's coming up from that. And so now you're staying in a house that's only half there because, you know, you had the backhoe come and tear off that part, you know, with the bath water and the tub that you threw out.
Yeah.
And you're going, So the reason, that's all energy frequency, and you can do physical steps to do that, because you can. There are things that you are very good at that have not come to your awareness right this moment, that you can do very well, and in various different ways, that can be flowed is the best way to say it right now, without putting too many pegs in it. It can be flowed in the awareness of, in the connection of, and right in front of other beings in different ways that they would appreciate. And so, in other words, so they're enjoying, and they may use different words for it depending on how they're focusing on something. So they may like, they may benefit, they may get value from, you know, you can, all those different words. And you are doing liking, benefiting, valuing, all, you know, from that flow. And the okay, I'm going to say it. I know, hold on to your hat. That money thing is just trotting by, and that's just the conduit. That's the exchange. When we resist against money so much, like you did, you know, I need it, I don't like it, and I don't want it anywhere near me.
You're right.
But I really want it, you know. We're giving it way too much weight. Because what you really want is flow.
Yes.
So then don't ascribe so much power to the money thing. Instead, go for the flow. So where's the flow for the value, the liking, the experiencing, right, that someone else is getting? And then they're sharing the conduit, the money piece, you know, it's just a piece of paper. So pink Post-it notes, they're sharing a pink Post-it note, right?
Yeah.
And now you're not having it because you love pink Post-it notes or money. No, because now this you are exchanging. So you exchanged something in different forms with this is for everybody, with this other being. And they gave you the pink Post-it note known as money. And you took that, not to hoard these, not to say, oh, I have this, not to be wrapped up in it. But now that you flow, and you can flow, oh, I want to be cool because I live in North Carolina. So I can share some of my pink Post-it note money for AC expenses or fuel in my rig to go and see, some weekend places, right? So what you've done is taken the attachment, mostly on the displeasure side, away from the money.
Okay.
And instead, it's a tool. If you pick up a pen or a pencil, do you say, I need a pencil because I want to write something, but I hate pencils and I don't want to have a pencil in this house? Well,
now I have a question for you about that, because I mean, although I have said very much the very similar words, I view money as a tool. I also feel, because there's a lot attached to that money, what it's used for, the fact that it's a middleman, the fact that that's the way the planet has been enslaved.
It's a spell.
Yes. And so, okay, so in part of our discussions, again, this was not done on camera, it's just, Lisa and I having coffee and chatting. The part of it is, so, and this is where I get confused about a few things. And that is, okay, on the one hand, I feel very much the same as what you talked about, that it's a tool. Okay, I do. And but on the other hand, I also, because of what the attachments to it in particular are, I would like to see it go away as well, because it is just a middleman. It is used in horrific ways for all kinds of crap, and it's absolutely not necessary whatsoever, in my view. And so the unbinding and the unwinding within me, and I'm getting dizzy about this.
This is a big one.
And yeah, in creating that not being here and not being a tool any longer. So there's, it's almost
You mean you're thinking if you make peace with it, we'll say this is not accurate, but it's if you make peace with it being a tool and you're not so head up about it, but is the act of making peace with it and not being so head up about it actually making it stay a little longer? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's what my consternation was today.
No, because the way I hold, well, just no, but the way I hold it is I've changed the spell.
Okay.
In my case, I have rewritten the spell. It's magic. The way it happens right now, it's magic. This was magic of the design sort of the false country coming due, right? So remember what this hand is?
Yeah.
Okay.
I gotcha. Yes.
No matter what you did, no matter how you tried, and there might be a little bit left, but no matter how, people say they get a raise or they get this or they get that, so more money's coming in, and now it's going to be on easy straight, and it's the damnedest thing, isn't it?
Yes.
Right? I mean, it's like magic how it's the damnedest.
If it flows in, it's going to go right back.
That's right. So what I've done is I've switched the spell. And it is like magic.
That's very helpful, BZ.
Because I can do things where I will be nudged. Some people may be starting to feel this, that as you really honor your nudges, you will be asked to go do something, and you will have to come up with the funds to go do the something.
Right.
And you say, okay. And you go do it. And and this is another conversation, but as you take those steps, those funds show up. Like, flying all the way across from one side of the country to the other side of the country with 2 dogs and a cat. and $27 in your pocket. And this was not like on a crop duster. This was not a big, but because that's where I was supposed to be, what I was supposed to do. And so you figure it out. So there'll be times where I'm told to do something as a nudge, and I go do it. And then things unfold, and I know I'm doing it right, and magical, mystical things unfold. And occasionally my linear brain will go, okay, hang on, but like you keep doing this and you're spending a lot of money. And I'm like, where'd you come from? So I'll listen to it for a minute and go, yeah, I am. Maybe I'm imagining this nudge. Maybe I'm imagining whatever it is, and I should stop doing this because I'm playing with, smart
Yes.
coming out to play. I'm not arguing. I'm just, okay, so try that on. And because I'm in this magic spell that I have created, instantly I get feedback that, no, it's good. I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm reading the nudges right. I'm spending the money where I'm supposed to be spending, and it keeps showing up, and it keeps showing up. So if I put too much of the brakes on and go over here, this doesn't come because I changed my frequency. Now I don't, luckily, after a number of years, I don't do that very often. But yes, and so a whole bunch of people are saying, well, that seems too easy, or, you're nuts, or la la land. No, it's not. It's not. Because like I said, I have tried all the linear things, upwards of 65, 70 hours a week, and this and that and the other thing, and layers and corporate and blah, 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 blah. And I kept getting this. And as soon as I shifted, and it's my languaging in the way that I do it, right, of playing and recognizing the beauty of this spell. I didn't swear on the spell. I didn't curse against the spell. I didn't rail against the spell. I didn't look at the gravity of, knowing what was going on. I looked at the beauty of it and the seamlessness of it and the power that it kept bringing in and having effect on my connection to it. And I thought, that's it. That's it. And some people are going, what the hell are you talking about? I hate that. Yeah, but I saw the totality of it. And I played with it, and I made my own spell. And this one does 100 million times better than what this one is. And this one was pretty good. I mean, high numbers to hold on as far as come and do, right?
Right.
But I've changed it over here. It's a whole different way of being. It's a whole different way of existing. I don't know how to describe in linear terms because there's the wall of objection and doubting, and it's fear. That's what the wall is that's coming at right now is fear. All I can tell you is my experience, and I was really good at this. I mean, oh my God, I was like rock star at this.
Well, I have to tell you that for me, the minute you said that you changed it with your own spell, that clicked so
me too.
Me, because we are creative,
right? Exactly.
And I haven't had quite the resistance that Lisa has, and I have noticed that while nothing really has changed in the income level or the outgo level for me, but there's not nearly as much stress or concern on my part, and I only thought it was because I was viewing it as a tool and wasn't stressing over it. But this little tip right here,
Yeah.
it just did a click for me. So that's
because that's where I was getting hung up too. I didn't want to encourage it either. Like I wanted to withdraw my energy from it altogether. So this was very helpful for me as well. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So you're releasing the bonds of that gravity.
Yes.
And you'll, as you play with it more and consciously script your spell, cast your spell on it, right? Which is on all of your body levels, right? You will see it more and more coming in different ways. Now, one of the things too that you said something right there, Lisa. I didn't want to. What was the word? I didn't want to encourage it. No, what I didn't want to.
Yeah, keep it going.
Keep it going. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
No, because you've actually. Would you stop doing that? She's going to turn around and bat you.
Is Keegan trying to get Rose to
He's
play?
trying to get her to play with the Aussie poke, and she's looking at him going, 2 more times. You get 2. You get 2. You go 1 more. Anyways, when you said that, think of the weight and the gravity you've given to it.
Yeah.
Just in that phrase.
Sure.
Because you're the kick-ass creator being. You're the one who writes the script of all of this. You know, that's why some beings in this moment that someone might look at right now is this world is an utter friggin' mess. And the chaos and the dust and the rumbling and the not working and the mayhem and the nothing's happening and whatever you want to some people is, I mean, talk about seismic activity. And some people are going, yeah, wow, isn't this great? I mean, look at what is happening. Look what's unfolding. Look what's changing. Look what's sprouting. Look what's, growing these whole trees and saplings and, right? And both are firm and convinced and absolutely knowing in both of those things. Because one knows and the other one is in the spell, right? So same thing, different spells.
Yeah. Well, that for me, you just illustrated very, very well how both of those things are true.
Yes.
Right.
It's not one is true and one is false.
No.
It's absolutely the truth. It's a matter of perspective.
It is.
And perception. Yeah.
I mean, I can walk places or encounter things and it can happen in real time where someone goes, wow, what a mess, and this, that, thing. I don't experience that at all. I'm talking about walking in the same building, the same space, the same square footage at the same time, in the same moment.
Well, that happens all the time.
Yeah.
Folks have that in their own homes. All they got to do is look around. I mean, so yeah, absolutely.
But this is when we need to, if we don't like what we're experiencing, bringing towards, this is when we need to become aware of what's actually going on.
Yes.
And we can't hide from it. We can't brush it off. We can't slough it off. We can't deny it. We can't, it's their fault. It's their fault. Nobody's arresting the rat bastards who are doing this to me.
Right.
It doesn't work anymore because we're on the path. Some are already way down the path. Some are already there. Some haven't even seen the path yet. Some are, putting their toe on it, and some are just, so all different things. To becoming the singularity, the magnificent singularity that we are in our sovereignty is the path that we get there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I was thinking back to what you said about, they're not arresting the rat bastards that are doing this to me. And that doesn't jive with sovereignty.
No.
So,
But
yeah.
neither does keeps coming due either.
Right.
Well, actually, it kind of does, because in my sovereignty there, I was completely complicit in and in thrall by the spell. Because part of the spell is to agitate me. Part of the spell, because that's what keeps the spell going, is to agitate me, is to have fear come up, is to have stress come up, because all of that is louche, and another form of return on the investment that the spell has set in place.
Right.
It's not just percentage points that's the investment. In fact, that's just a little tiny sprinkles of icing on the cake there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's, everybody will do it slightly differently. All I've given you is my thing on it. And it's one of those things that when I'll just use this. So when you're standing on this side with this spell, you kind of sort of maybe get it, but you really get this and you don't like it. And until you, because you're the conduit, makes the choice to rewrite the spell, to flip it, whatever your word is in it, recreate it.
Sure.
And when you do that, even in tiny small steps, which is a whole nother conversation, you will start to see the change. Little bing, fairy wand things or whatever is in little things. And that's how you do it. And until you do it, you there is no getting there from here. You take yourself from here to there, if that makes sense. We've talked about it a lot on different things where you would mention something, Sheila, I don't get it. How do you do that? I don't get it. And then all of a sudden you're over here, oh yeah. Can I explain it? No, but yeah, I get it. Yeah. So it's, everything is like that. There's not just a few things. Everything is like that.
You're right.
And everything is that simple. And oh my God, sometimes from here to there is so excruciatingly difficult. You can't even imagine how you did it to make it so excruciating. And that's part of, the bigger thing is source going forward to know source, because we're not small and we're not missing anything. And this isn't happening in a vacuum. And if we can go to this place where it's so excruciatingly difficult, where it's such an anathema to being kick-ass creator beings, to being able to wield this creational force to build planets, then we're doing our mission of going forth to know source and gathering all of the different experiences really well. We're doing a bang-up job of it. And as we kind of recognize, oh, hey, like I said, looking at the beauty in this, right? Not fighting against it, not, just saying, wow, that's it. And going, that's it.
Well, our title here, Releasing the Bonds of Gravity to the Lower Worlds. It's come for me in hearing what you were just saying there, in that that's one of the reasons that it can't be, well, first of all, it can't be given to us, because again, where's the sovereignty of that? And that's the name of this game. at this point. It's not just ascension. It's sovereignty over all. And that means that I have to do it. I have now this sharing.
It's an inside job.
Yes. This platform that the three of us share, and there are many others out there doing the same, and I applaud us all for being willing to have these conversations, because they are helpful, but only if a being is willing to listen, take it in, feel it, and work with it, or not, as their choice is, because neither one of you gave me these knowings or the final grokking or the final click that got in here.
Right.
And it's not like I'm there yet, because I know I'm not, but I can very clearly see that all of this is that metaphor for the sovereignty that we're all speaking on. And the act of releasing these bonds is speaking directly to that sovereignty.
Because it's the old world. The old worlds that are crumbling, that do not exist anymore. We're just in different ways holding it a little bit longer there.
I'm sorry, I just got the whole thing of like it's like it's not supported anymore. You know, like how when Windows upgrades and they only support it for a little while and then that goes away. That's what this is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the very tail end of, I don't know what, Windows 7 maybe. It's not even exactly supported anymore. And if it breaks down, well, you better figure out something else. Wow, that's...
Yeah.
So one last thing I was nudged to reiterate it, you know, over here with the and the money piece is just one of the bonds of gravity that you're releasing. Although it's a linchpin, because that's part of the whole the real moneymaker and whatnot of the slavery system and the false construct, because that's, you know, supply chains lead out from that. Because again, it's not just the greenbacks, or, you know, if you're in Europe, the gold and orangey colored backs, right? It's all of the energy frequency, all of the loosh that comes from it, all of the travesties that we do to each other in the name of money and that whole slavery system. That is the real, like I said, return on investment. That's a whole other conversation. But what I did want to just highlight, was nudged to highlight, is that over here, that, you know, it's keeps coming due. So this on the spell of money and what we're fully what's all at some point or another, we're in there, so that's describing your thing, have been fully ensconced in, is the degree to which that is excruciatingly difficult to bear, to be part of, to survive, to get out of, all those kinds of things. This over here, when you see it, when you can recognize the beauty of this energy system and construct, of the false construct of that prison of the money, we'll say,
right,
is over here, that creating your own spell of that and being the power, the generating, you know, you're the actual, this mega generator, like a, I don't know, 50 million watt generator. If you say in a power station, it can light entire, you know, coasts, not just a city, but coasts, right? You are that. And so when you see that and you play in that, the sublimely deliciousness of that is it's the balance, the counterweight to that. It has to be. You can't just get enough to get by, because that doesn't break any of this.
Right.
The sublimely deliciousness of the creatorness that you are must come through to outweigh this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for me, you hit a very important part there, because in truth, and I mean, honestly, in truth, when one does, because, my, waking up started with coming online to figure out with the corruption and everything. And that's the very first thing one does when one finds out all these lies, is start railing against it. And that's a whole lot of energy that I didn't realize at that point was feeding into it and
Yes.
keeping it going.
Yes.
And so when you're making this point, because it is, I mean, just from a
it's more return on their investment.
Exactly.
Right. Well, the words that I'm looking for here is I'm going to use engineering standpoint. It's not quite right, but
Okay.
from an engineering or a manufacturing or a structure of how to build a thing standpoint, this system, it really has been a thing of beauty. If we were honest with ourselves, because look how many billions of people still don't know what's being done to them.
Right.
And so when look at taking all the horrific things out of it, and looking at it for what it is and how it's been set up and perpetuated for all these years and millennia, actually, the beauty of that is astounding in and of itself. So I see what you're saying there, getting to that point where one can just see and appreciate, wow, I see what y'all did there, man. Woo, that's
and so you talked about using it as a tool. So when I was dumbfounded, when I got out of the muck and the mire, the fear, the gut churning, the tears, whatever, all that stuff you get, right? I mean, it's due. So y'all know the picture I'm talking about, right?
Oh yeah.
And when I could clear all that for a minute, and I thought, that's it. It was that's it. It was the blinding light of the beauty and the magnificence and the it's just magnificent what it was. But in that moment, in that shining moment, I could go, that's why I said that's it. Because that gave me some of the building blocks to create my spell, which is far more powerful than this ever was. And I haven't even perfected it yet, but even in the first moment, because it was coming from true, expansive creator beingship,
Right.
open heart, and direct source open conduit line.
Yeah.
And that's what we're all doing.
I love that, and I that's made a
Me too.
huge impact on me.
Me too.
For a
Thank you.
lot of things, actually, this one in particular, but
take money out of this kind of the last 3/4 of this conversation and put anything in it.
Anything.
See the beauty of it.
Anything you're resisting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, I got the body tingles all over. This is really a huge conversation, ladies.
Yeah.
And I am so appreciative of this.
Me too.
Talk about a releasing, and Okay, so that just came in.
What?
Now I know exactly why we had no idea this is where this conversation was going to go, Lisa. But both of us chose this one.
Oh, yeah.
Ah, I see the beauty in that too. Oh my gosh. Okay, thank you both so much. And is there anything could there, I'm sure we could find something else to add to this, but either one of you?
No, just my gratitude.
You're the beginning and the end of all the creation that you wish to see. So get to it.
Okay. Sorry, my excitement is I'm really excited about this because that was a big, huge click for me.
Yes, me too.
Because I know that we are magic.
Yes.
And that just makes so much sense, Bees.
Doesn't it?
And let me just say, I'm a pretty powerful creator. So, I'm excited. Okay, well, there will be the ways to get in touch with each one of us, of course, in the show more section of this video, as always. And I'm going to start saying like, share, and subscribe to this channel. And I'm also going to say there has been and there always will be a love donation button in the show more section of this channel. And if any of this is ever any helpful to you, you want to see this channel grow, please don't hesitate to show us some love. Till next time.
Sure.